What's up? What's up, y'all? Polo Sports Talking Entertainment here again with another one. Hit the like, sub, comment, notification, do all that good stuff. You know the deal. You know the drill, man. Look, this is a topic, man, that I think is very. Uh, it's a very good, I guess, discussion to have because of so many parameters that you could throw into each argument. You know, when we talk about who is the better defensive player out of Kawhi Leonard. Now, before I get this started, okay, I want to let people know that when I make this when I make this particular uh, comparison, I'm looking at it from a standpoint of when Kawhi Leonard was fully healthy. Okay, I want to talk about that for a second. All right, now Kawhi Leonard has had quite a few injuries within the last 4 years. Okay, and plus including a surgery that nobody wants to come to grips with. Okay, and it has set him back, like it or not. You know, we always sit here and we want to live in this fantasy world that Kawhi Leonard has is still playing the same type of the still playing the same type of game, well, at the same type of level in terms of his health. And listen, you talking about a guy that absolutely loves Kawhi Leonard, man. Pause. You know, I've I've noticed that whenever you whenever you look at Kawhi or other players for that matter, nobody likes to keep it objective. Everybody tends to keep everything subjective. And the only reason I would really keep anything objective in terms of Kawhi, it has to do with the fact that Kawhi Kawhi has had these type of a little knick-knack injuries that have had an effect on him and how he can produce. If Kawhi did not have as many like injuries and stuff that took place with him in terms of his career and things that took place, there's no doubt in my mind that Kawhi would be on a whole nother level. Okay, and that's paying homage to this guy, right? Um, you know, a lot of people, like, I don't get in my feelings. I don't get in my feelings when it comes to certain players. Like I like Russell Westbrook, but do I think that he has a lot to work on? Yes, absolutely. He has a lot to work on. But let's just go ahead and go through some of these injuries that have set him back. All right. Now, of course, man, when he was younger, when he was playing for the Spurs, okay, you know, he ended up rolling his ankle, okay, and we remember that had taken place, you know. Um, you know, he not only had the ankle injury that took place, but then he also had the quadricep injury, which really didn't get better. And he was constantly remember fighting that and nagging it. So that's two already that I mentioned. Okay, uh, that tends to nag him. Uh, and when you talk about the quadricep, it lingers just like a hamstring uh, injury. It lingers. Then also you had to realize that he had a partial tear in his left shoulder. That's number three. Okay, that's number three. And when we talk about the shoulder, when we talk about the knee, when we talk about the hamstring, when we talk about those are injuries, man, that as a basketball player, they can absolutely they can take a toll on you and have an effect on how you play. And with Kawhi being the premier defender that he was, especially premier perimeter defender that he was, it took a toll on him, right? And then on top of that, you know, we had to understand that while he was it seemed that he was getting ready to he was managing his body perfectly when it came to the Raptors and everything. And he was happy when he was with Toronto. He was still dealing with left knee tendonitis. Okay, now that became an apparent issue. All right, uh, played like 51 games for the Clippers. He did a phenomenal job. 26, and I'm gonna get to the comparison in just a few minutes. You know, and he was still treating that quad injury. All right. Then he had that issue where he had to have surgery on uh, on his mouth. Uh, he had to get 8 stitches after a collision with the teammate. It was the mouth lacer- mouth laceration, and that's number four. Okay, And then of course you had different issues here and there that were going on that were lingering and stuff. But the biggest thing is now is that he got injured again, and he's having because not to mention the degenerative knees which rupture over time and see a lot of y'all think that, oh man, don't worry about it, man. Kawhi, man, he got this many all this other stuff, man. Yeah, it just y'all don't understand that over time, that's it's gonna get worse. We don't want to look at it like that, but that's the reality of a condition that he has. It's not gonna get any better. And then on top of that, he got that. Then he had the ACL surgery. So that's five different situations that have taken place in terms of injuries that have seemed to take control and take a toll on his career, and it has set him back on what he can do in terms of his mobility and stuff. Listen, Kawhi, he because of the injuries, he's not the same defender like what he once used to be. But that's not taking anything away from him. Listen, when you talk about Giannis and you talk about Kawhi, two of the premier talents in the NBA, both are extremely gifted players who can impact the game on either end of the floor. All right. Now, nobody was really making this argument until Giannis had got his second Defensive Player of the Year award, and now everybody wants to make that comparison. But I've been telling people that Giannis was on the rise just because of his versatility. He can guard 1 through 5, and on top of that, he can move in the perimeter. I mean, he was guarding Chris Paul, and I know Chris Paul isn't the fastest at this stage of his career, but Giannis can also guard point guard. He's guarded faster players too as well. Now, the thing that you have to take into consideration too is I think some people get everything out of context too because they play vastly different roles for their respective teams. But still as all stars, their impact can be compared too. Now, if you're looking at both of these guys' defensive impact, we have to understand what both of those individuals entail in terms of their team. Now, Kawhi is primarily a perimeter-based defender. You know what I'm saying? And look, I know people gonna bring up the fact that Kawhi shut down Giannis, uh, that 1 year and everything. When they in when they when he was playing for Toronto and everything. Okay, yes, I understand that, but Giannis was still evolving. It happens. People, superstars shut each other. They put the clamps on each other. That's just, but that doesn't take away from what Giannis can do in terms of his dominance defensive wise. Giannis tends to operate on the interior. That separates him from Kawhi, and he's usually used as a drop defender, or like what some people would call, I think it's called a shuttle, you know. And because I used to, I would have to. We had a guy that used to play that sometime, especially when you played a small forward position. You could be a shuttler. You could consider Dennis Rodman a shuttler because Dennis Rodman can play in the interior, and he could also play on the exterior too as well. Um, a shuttler is a drop defender, but he could roam toward the perimeter, and he's not really just held just to guarding a big, if that makes any sense. And we've seen Greek be able to operate in roles in numerous occasions uh, during the last seasons of playoffs or whatever. Uh, Being able to understand this though, Kawhi is, he's in his 30s now, okay, and we have to understand that he like I just mentioned, he's having he's had that major ACL surgery, and which was came off the major knee injury, and that could possibly keep him out the whole year. I've said it before. He should just go ahead and sit out. Giannis, he's still young. Like I said, he's 27. He's in a new season, and then also he's in a new defensive role. But not only is in a new defensive role, he's now just starting to enter into his prime, into his peak. So now you're really gonna see him make his impact and his presence felt much more than last year. The issue with knee injuries that I need you to understand, okay? Which some of y'all are just naive, man. Yeah, and y'all really don't understand. You say Giannis Tyson. Yeah, exactly. A salute to Jersey Deep. Hey, y'all go subscribe to Jersey Deep. Jersey Deep, man. Hey, dog, we got to talk about BMF, man. There was some stuff, man, about BMF, man, that ties in that it tied into New York, tied in and stuff that I wanted to talk to you about, man. But I'm gonna get into that. When it came to Big Meech and Southwest T and those guys, man, I'm gonna holler at you about that. But I upon doing my research on it, man, I found out some things, man, and I had to ask you some questions what you thought about that. But anyways, man, y'all go subscribe to Jersey Deep, man. He do hip hop, uh, talk about uh talk about East Coast rap, you know what I'm saying? He talks about hip hop in general, man, and the man loves his Lakers, man. He a LeBron James fan too as well. So y'all go mess with that boy Jersey Deep, man. Always bringing that fire over there at his channel. Um, the issue with knee injuries is like Kawhi's is that you never know what level of mobility or explosiveness that a player will regain once they're fully healthy. And for Kawhi, for any player who relies on their athleticism, Kawhi could find his defensive impact slightly diminished. Um, the beauty of being a drop defender is that athleticism it's not really a request, and it might help a lot, but some of the least athletic bigs in the league have found themselves operating as a positive in similar roles. Like a guy like Cantor, even though, man, I'm kind of disappointed in what he said uh, a month or two ago in terms of LeBron and stuff. Let's take him for instance. We get all this hoopla about his inability to guard the pick and roll, and once he's operating in a drop scheme, he's an awful defensive piece. And okay, Cantor is an extreme example. Okay, he 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 he's a prime example. And that's the complete opposite of what Giannis can do. Now, in terms of impact, when you look at lineup statistics for the previous season, you could clearly see the trend for Giannis being on the floor. The Milwaukee Bucks and Giannis, and they put Giannis as the center. Teams only converted, like, I think it was like, let me look at it. It's 74.2% of their chances around the rim. The bottom 3% in the playoff, and it's a similar story anywhere inside of the 3-point line. And why do you think that is? It's because Greek was on the floor. The Milwaukee Bucks would send offensive players to his pass, and guess what he would end up doing? He would alter their shot or stop their shot, because you got to remember Giannis would get a ton of blocks too. So that to me makes him a quite better defender. And then on top of that, he'll get a block sometimes, and then rebounds is defense. I don't care what anybody says. He could get a rebound, take that bitch coast to coast, bam. That's another impact. Block a shot, you know what I'm saying? Get up the floor, bam. You know, in comparison with Kawhi, he was doing that, earlier in his career and everything, but and then as his career progressed, you could kind of see, okay, well, dang, now he's got to sit down, or he might have to be out on the game, which takes away from the team. And as I've said before, reliability and availability is very important. You know, and people want to ask me who was the better defender when Kawhi was healthy and all this other stuff. Perimeter wise, Kawhi was. He was a lethal defender. Okay, he reminded me a lot of Scottie Pippen, the way he guarded. With Kawhi Leonard on the floor, teams would shoot at a abysmal rate from anywhere, and you take Kawhi off the floor, then it would kind of go up, and so that's a comparison in terms of similarities. But see, I think some people get this misconstrued. Now, individually, yes, defense it's played from time to time, but defense has not. It's not always an individual task. Just like offense isn't either. Defense is team oriented, especially when you talk about basketball. And there's stretches where the transcendent defensive player can shut down the opponent, but if there's no help, especially on that weak side, if there's no help defense, or a rotation is missed, everything will come in shambles. And that's why defensive metrics, they struggle to capture a player's true ability on defense. And I tend to look at a lineup on and off, data to a certain extent, rather than the catch-all metrics. But you see, now you're dealing with analytics. But right now, we mainly just talking about the eye test. You know, before his injury, we got to give Kawhi his just due. He was operating at a phenomenal level. But ever since he's had that knee injury, you know, whether it's him recovery for almost a year out, and then with this thing happening too, it's no telling what type of player he's going to be when he's returning. And People have to be prepared. We might not see his level of play on defense again, like we once did. You just have to be prepared for that. That's the same thing that I said about Kawhi. I mean, Klay Thompson too, who was one of the elite defenders too in the league too, and nobody gives that guy credit. But he's guarding pretty much the toughest players in his position almost every single night, along with Draymond Green. And then on top of that, you have to understand that he's carrying the load for the offensive end too as well. And if he has to take possessions off, it's easy to envision the defensive end suffering, and that's what you have to put into perspective. See, Greek on, however, has more. He got a little bit more help on the offensive end and has taken the role as the defensive anchor. And you got to understand that the injury history of Leonard don't amount to nothing. Man, there ain't even no comparison. The only thing that you could say about Giannis is the fact that he hyperextended his knee. That's the worst injury he done been through. And see, this is another thing that you have to understand. If Giannis continues to improve and to evolve as both a center and a power forward, and as well as a small forward too, and Claude continues his recovery from that injury, the gap between them two will be way, way, way out of reach. And Giannis now, he is one of the best defenders in the NBA. You know, and now Kawhi is. I know he has two rings, uh, but Giannis got a ring now, and he's got the same amount of Defensive Player of the Year award, and he's got a Final MVP. You know, but y'all always sit up here and y'all down the man. Y'all don't want to get this guy his credit. Y'all don't want to y'all don't want to do anything to uplift Giannis, but talk about his flaws. You want to talk about his jump shot. Well, you can't talk about that anymore. Well, you can't talk about it as much now. Now it's second nature to him now, and he's getting better. You've seen him in the preseason, but we're not talking about offense. I'm talking strictly defense. Strictly defense. And last year he had three of the best defenders on his squad. That made it even more tough. PJ Tucker, one of the elite defenders in the league, and for all the hell that they gave uh, Drew Holiday, he was a first teamer. Chris Middleton, he wasn't a first teamer, but guess what? Chris Middleton led the league in defensive win shares. And then, of course, you had Giannis, who was another first teamer and a Defensive Player of the Year award winner uh, the year before that. Gotta understand that, man. And it's not taking anything away from Claw. I love Claw, but if you don't have your health and if you're not reliable and you're not available, how can we judge you? And see, Giannis is an iron. He's an Iron Man. He's gonna always be there. And most defensive players, you can rely on them. When you go back in the course of history, you can rely on Ben Wallace. When you go back in the course of history, you can rely on Dennis Rodman. When you go back in the course of history, you can rely on Bruce Bowen. When you go back in the course of history, you can rely on different players that played defense, and that was really pretty much their role. And then when you talk about Giannis, you throw the offense into account, and he's superstar and the leader of his team. Come on, what are we talking about here? But y'all tell me what you think at this stage of the game. Let me know what y'all think. Who's better, Giannis defensively or Kawhi Leonard defensively? Dante. Yeah, but nah, yeah, Grayson Allen, man, he's hit or miss, and I'm a Duke fan, but he could be, really, Theo. I don't think a lot of people talk about what I just said, but people got to understand how valuable a guy like Middleton is on defense. Never mind Middleton's offense and what he can do offensively. Middleton is a guy that can really help defensively. And then on top of that, you got to realize they still got Drew Holiday. Yes, they lost PJ Tucker. I understand that. Yes, I understand that. But you still got Bobby Portis. Still got Chris Middleton. Still got Giannis. You still got those guys, man, that can actually defend and see. They like to say, "Oh, well, he's not a lockdown defender." When you talk about Bobby Portis, man, Bobby Portis got so much energy, energy. But everybody gets all down. Oh, we lost PJ Tucker. Oh no, what are we gonna do? Man, what you gonna do is just pipe down, shut up, get in the gym, and work with the pieces that you got. But that's that. See, that's the generation. Oh no, what are we gonna do? We missing the player. I don't want to play no more, man. Well, you see what happened to Ben Simmons? Hey, nigga, if you don't want to play, man, get the fuck out. Doc Rivers ain't got time for that shit. Doc Rivers is old school. He from the south side of Chicago. Much like Terry Cummings, much like Isaiah Thomas, much like Nick Anderson, much like uh a lot of the other Chicago greats that came out of there. It don't matter. Look, Giannis' mentality is like, look, we got the next man up. Yeah, we know PJ Tucker. We know you haven't been talking about me the whole offseason. Yeah, we know the only thing that you got to say about him is, oh, does he still have a jump shot? Does he still have a jump shot? Well, he's showing you that in the preseason. He shouldn't. With fluidity, he hitting it with fluidity, and then on top of that, he's uh he's still a great defensive player. Giannis is only gonna get better. He ain't nothing but 27. Y'all act like Giannis is damn near 40 or something like that. No, you can't go to sleep on the Bucks. You can't go to sleep on Chicago. You can't go to sleep on Charlotte. You can't go to sleep on some of these teams that are in the East. All y'all talking about Brooklyn, 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 Brooklyn. Man, there are teams out there. That's just like this one guy, man, that tried to get out there and say, "Oh yeah, well, Lamelo Ball is this or that." Man, Lamelo Ball is a premier point guard in this league. Very valuable maker. I would love to have Lamelo Ball on the Sixers. Absolutely love to have him because he doesn't have a care in the world uh, about anything except winning. He don't care about himself. He could care less how many points he's scoring as long as the team is happy. As long as he's setting the table for them. That's all that matters. But y'all want me to get on here and y'all want me to be fake and y'all want me to say, okay, well, I hate this person just because another player hates that person. Y'all want me to hate on Middleton just because the whole other world is hating on Middleton. No, it don't work like that. Middleton was more valuable than a lot of people give him credit for. Just like this a person came to me, saying, okay, well, Middleton is inconsistent and all this other stuff. Okay, yeah, he might have been inconsistent in your eye, but to me, 23.6 points per game, 7.6 rebounds per game, and a plus 119 overall. That's Uh, okay, Chima, you keep on dreaming. If that happens, he'll get my ultimate respect. But we don't even know if he's even coming back, man. We're talking about an ACL surgery. Okay, we're not talking about some little on knees that he's been struggling with the whole entire, for the his second tenure of his career. It's gonna be a slow process, man. Just throwing him back out there in the middle of the playoffs and stuff, man. Are you serious? That's a recipe for disaster. If I'm Kawhi, I'm sitting my ass down, just like I told AD to sit down, just like I told Joel Embiid to sit down. I didn't want Joel Embiid playing on that torn meniscus. Nah, listen, you don't need to send me any video. I I like Kawhi. I love his game because I love defense. But what you have to understand, listen, I understand that y'all have an attachment with the players that you like, but you have to be objective and you have to be real. I love Russell Westbrook, but if he plays the way that he's playing with LA, getting turnovers and stuff like that, he's gonna be detrimental uh, to the Lakers' success. You know, I like I like I like Giannis, but if Giannis, which it's not gonna happen, but if he doesn't like improve in certain areas and certain aspects of his game, then he knows for sure that they have no chance of repeating, and that's why he's getting better. I like Clay Thompson, but if continues to get hurt, Golden State is not going to be valuable. Not, I mean, they have less chance of being valuable. Now, they could prove me wrong, but we have to understand that just because I like a player, that doesn't exclude me from being real about those particular players. I like Kawhi. Kawhi was hands down top was the best in the league at one point. Um, Steph Curry is he's I think he's really out on a mission. I mean, 41 points in 30 minutes. That's uh that's phenomenal. But it all goes back to Clay. It all comes down to Draymond, and it all comes down to those other pieces that they have that are going to be able to play within that system. People think I just like are discounting the Warriors or anything like that. No, if you have Clay in that lineup, then you have a chance. A healthy Clay, a healthy Clay. It all comes down to health. And see, some of y'all, I'm not talking about you, Beneath, but some of y'all like to live in this fantasy as if that player that got injured was the same player like 4 or 5 years ago. And that's not the case. Y'all got to stop looking at it like that. The reason why LeBron has got so great of longevity right now is because he's had very little injuries. He's just starting to get like little knick-knack injuries here and there. Go back earlier in the video. Go look at my previous stream. I just made a stream on it, Bonnie, but I'll tell you like this: I'm not surprised about it. I just did a stream on it, and like I said, I don't want him. I don't want him on the team because he's going to be a distraction. Look, wait, what, man? If you're coming in here to like you coming in here just to disagree, just to disagree. Everything that I say, you can't just disagree just to try to get a rise, man. You keep on doing that stuff. Like I don't have an emotional attachment with any of these players, man. But we're not talking about the coaching, man. We're talking about personnel. Listen, if they got a trash coach, but guess what? They had the personnel to win multiple to win championships, didn't they? Come on now, wait, what? I know, you know, Steve Kerr. He's not the best. You know, the best coach. You know, there's been some times when Steve Kerr has actually surprised me and proved me wrong. But you know, most of the time, his adjustments are not as good as some of the elite coaches. I'll give you that. But we're talking about the health of Clay being out there on the floor, and you know that the IQ of Curry. Did it stop them from winning the chip in their heyday? No, it didn't. It's gonna come down to health. It's gonna come down to health and the personnel around them. You have guys on that team that are new, and then James Wiseman, he just went to the G League, man. Come on, wait, what? You can't. You can only put everything on the coach for so long. Look, I could sit up here and like the instant I was talking about Budenholzer. We could sit up here and say Budenholzer this, Budenholzer that, all this other stuff. But the players still got to go out there and still got to execute, and they still have to play. You know, and more importantly, they have to be healthy too. Clay Thompson needs to be healthy, man. You don't understand how valuable Clay Thompson is to that squad, man. And I know y'all love Curry. I like Curry. He's an exciting player to watch, man. But I mean, you seen what happened when they played Ja. Wait, what, man? If you don't understand anything that I'm saying, just rewind it back to what I just said. Okay, just rewind it back. I'm not gonna repeat myself. That that's what I said. I said the players still had to go out and go execute. Are you not hearing what I'm saying? I said they still had to go out there and execute. Everything doesn't fall. I just said that. It doesn't fall on the head coach. I didn't say that he was the best coach in the world, man. But you know, good execution does have it helps down the stretch. And you got to think about it. They still had Mike Brown as an assistant who doesn't get a lot of credit. They had a good staff. Wait, what? It's just that what's it called? Mark Jackson was the one that kind of laid that foundation, but then Kerr took over. If it wasn't, you know, if it wasn't for Mark Jackson, that found that seed would not have been planted. Yeah, I know. That is insane. And I'm not a fan of that. But I will tell you this though, wait, what Curry is on a mission this year. 41 points in 30 minutes. That's phenomenal. But even though it's a preseason game, but Curry is on a mission. Uh I'll probably go ahead and get the Warriors. You know, the Lakers, man, if y'all are expecting the Lakers to just come out and automatically get all of this stuff together right away, I don't listen. I want y'all to get that out of your head. It's going to take some time to figure out things. It's going to take some time to figure out things. You got guys on there that have never been in this type of winning environment, but you have guys in there that have a championship experience and they know what it takes. But then you also have veterans there that have never been able to achieve that type of success, such as Melo and such as Westbrook. Even though Westbrook has been close, he sniffed the Larry O'Brien, but couldn't quite get it. And then of course you got other guys on there that that are new to a whole nother system. It's a lot of things that we got to take into account. DeAndre Jordan, he, while he's been in big games and stuff, he's never played in the finals. So we got to stop the wishful thinking. Oh, the Lakers are automatically going to win. Listen, there's other teams that did not tweak that much. There's other teams like Phoenix. You said, listen, let me explain this to you again. Wait, what? I never said that Steve Kerr was a great coach. Okay, I never said that. I never said that. I understand where you're coming from. I agree with you. What I'm telling you though is that the health is a concern for the Warriors. It's the health. Well, I mean, listen, the East, the East is stronger than what you. That well, at least on paper, they're showing stronger than what you might think. Wait, what? Listen, I know you might be like, oh man, yeah, right. Chicago has gotten better, okay, or they're going to get better. Charlotte has gotten better. I keep telling you that. I guess you just really don't want to believe me. Um, New York, New York is. I think they're still going to be the same, and then also Atlanta. I still think it's still. It's not. They're not going to be a surprising team like they were. They're going to come in and do some damage and pick up where they left off because they still have their pieces. And then you got to think about it. Indiana, they got a new coach. They just signed Brogdon to the extension, and then the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat. So it's going to be more competitive than what you're actually giving it credit for. I believe KD's on a real mission though. Durantula is somebody you can never go to sleep on. Lakers must win, and I got them to win. Clay isn't there. Wiseman, G Lee. Yep, I know. I don't know until you. Yeah, I told you. Yeah, Wiseman. Wiseman, he went to the G League, and that will that do him some good? Yeah, absolutely. Just like it's gonna do Leandro Ball some good. Listen, if I would love to have Wiseman in Philly. Shit, I would love to have him in Philly. To see him develop. Man, he's a very skilled big man, but you got to think about it. That guy barely played coming out of college. Then on top of that, you throw him in there with no hardly any training camp, and he's having to pick up everything. Look, I'm not making a ton of excuses for him, but I mean, come on, man. That guy is loaded with potential. Where he's going to end up, I don't know. But Wiseman, man, Wiseman's going to be something. Lakers have a healthy AD, LeBron, and Westbrook. Well, yeah, but it comes down to chemistry. It comes down to chemistry and continuity. If you don't have chemistry, if you don't have continuity, you can have talent all day and still lose. Hell, we were talented, but guess what? Atlanta came in and won. I mean, we were shorthanded and everything, but you know, listen, the Los Angeles Lakers, yeah, they look great. Like when you see their roster, but you still have to go out there. You still have to execute. You still got to have continuity. Plus, they changed their offense. That's another thing. Wait, what? I don't know if you know that. Frank Vogel has implemented a new offense. Yeah, I know that, but I'm still not going to sleep on him. Look, it, it's I'm not one of those ones. Wait, what to be like? Oh yeah, it's just preseason or anything. But I don't become a prisoner of the moment though. So we'll see what happens, man. But I'm not going to sleep on Chicago, nor am I going to sleep on Charlotte, and definitely not Miami. I shit can't go to sleep on the Bucks too. Everybody act like the Bucks are just like, oh, that was just a one hit wonder type of team, man. Listen, Chris Middleton averaged 23.6 points. Okay, and listen, this is a guy that you said was a superstar too. Wait, what? You know, Chris Middleton averaged 23.6 points, 7.6 uh 7.6 rebounds, and he was a plus 119 on the floor. And he led the league in defensive win shares and led the playoffs in defensive win shares. We got to stop acting like this guy was not valuable to the squad. And Chris Middleton is still valuable on defense. Giannis is still valuable on defense. Bobby Portis is still valuable on defense. Drew Holiday is still valuable on defense. So when people talk about, oh man, we lost PJ Tucker, man, we ain't going nowhere, man. You still got guys out there that can defend. But yeah, wait, what, man? I'm finna go ahead and bounce out, man. Tune in later. We're talking more basketball. Got a little bit of football coming up. Appreciate all y'all pulling up. Theo B, Bonit Chima, uh, Jersey Deep. Thank y'all for pulling up. Chillin', man. It's Polo Sports Talking ENT. Like this video, share it, subscribe. Also hit them notifications too. I'm gonna get at y'all later.